You know, I'd like to consider myself a painter, but I've been doing mosaics for well over 8 years now. So when people ask me what my medium is, I say I'm a painter, but right now I'm doing mosaics. I really think that I've found my new love. Well, getting to know this neighborhood was a very intimate experience for me. I noticed a lot of the architectural elements. I wanted to include that. And I wanted reading this mosaic to be a very intimate experience. Sort of like going into your grandmother's drawer, that one drawer she told you don't go into, and finding old pictures and trinkets, or opening a chest, or as with myself, if I'm looking at a photo album for one particular picture, my day is shot, because I never just look at that one particular picture. I'm flipping through pages and thinking about experiences, trying to remember who that cousin was, that sort of thing. Not telling the story myself, but adding certain textural elements that remind people of those intimate exchanges, like standing at your fence and talking to your neighbor. And so I took slabs of clay and I actually pressed them into the fence. And someone asked me, why don't you just cut out the shapes? And I said, well, I'll know that I didn't do exactly this. The title is Know All Men by These Presents, which you usually see on legal documents. I started out by getting a little bit of history on the neighborhood, and it was established in 1948, but officially on the rolls in 1950. And I thought knowing all men by these presents represents a lot of the stories that a lot of the elders told me, such pride and wanting to make sure that their stories were told and some of their issues continue to be addressed, some of their achievements continue to be praised, and it all came about in telling stories. They asked me to write something in the form of images on the story of this neighborhood, but again, I wanted them to tell me the story. I asked, and it began with meeting with the quilting circle.
I was one of the first quilting teachers that taught over here. One of the residents asked me if I wouldn't be interested in volunteering, and I said yes. And in 2007, we formed a group and started the first quilting class here. So I thought it would be good to give something back to the community.
Marsha was real patient with us, especially with somebody like me who had no artistic skills, and to come up with something that I had made was just very exciting to me.
Our city council member, Jerry Davis, contacted me to be a part of the panel for the selection of the artist. And so I actually participated with the panel, working directly with the Houston Arts Alliance in that process. One of the things, though, that made Ms. Outlaw stand out is how well prepared she was for that day. She came in with her own mock-up of this mural, and believe me, I don't think she deviated much from her original thought. She was able to share how she had started interviews within the community. So it was obvious that she had taken an interest in our community and wanted to know more about its history.
I'd say there were about at least 100 volunteers. I don't think I'm exaggerating. I've worked with kids at Pleasantville Elementary School. They created a lot of the pieces for the border. Worked with the art department at Fur High School, Wheatley High School, the seniors at the Pleasant Village living community here.
Then she came to me, I don't know if she was very early in the project, and she asked me if I would do a piece. No, I don't want to do that. No. And she kept at it, so she just gave me this slab of clay to take home. And I sat and I watched it for a long time, not sure what I was going to do. She wanted me to do the history of Pleasantville. So I thought about it a long time, and it took me about 2 weeks to render it.
The Port was really proud to participate in this mural, and Marsha she was already telling the story of the Port and the maritime industry as it connected to this community through other parts in the mosaic. But we just did our one part in having our small little tile there, and we're so proud to be part of it, and I just can't imagine the pride that Marsha and all the folks in the community that live here feel.
Well, one day I was teaching in the classroom, and Marsha walked through my door, and I didn't even know she was coming, but it was just a wonderful surprise, and she presented the idea of for high school participating in the mural project. And of course we said yes and began to gather a small group of students together who were interested in creating some tiles. And they sketched, I think they sketched for hours on end to really get something that they felt would kind of get at the heart of who they were as kids. They were really anxious to have a voice and to think about that fusion of past and present in their culture.
My family has history here. Both of my grandparents actually live in this neighborhood, so just to see the mural really helps me recognize my history here, just seeing parts of it that, you know, my parents or my grandparents were a part of it, so it's wonderful.
I was privy to a lot of nice conversations. It was almost like a family reunion with people coming in, you know, sharing stories with each other, allowing me to take their foot impressions as sort of a theme of walking the walk as well as talking the talk. Well, the community has a great story to tell. I've always believed that artists create art to record life as it is, as it should be, or as they might want it to be. And I think, at least for me, an important part of that is hearing what people have to say about that. A lot of my work, again, the mosaics represent communities, and I think unless I'm actually from there, I'm missing out a lot if I don't engage the community too.
When I walk in this building, it's breathtaking. It was a statement made this morning that it looked like it belongs, and it does. I can't imagine this not being on the wall when you walk in this new facility, and it is breathtaking as well as chilling to know that all of this is history of our community. And I think that the community deserves it, and it's a path for us to move forward.
Being able to capture some of those first, being able to capture those who have gone on and as well as those who currently live in the community, I think that we're very proud of this art piece and the reflection that it has.
Makes me feel like I was a part of an awesome neighborhood. It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming.
I met some really wonderful people, and from what I understand, there are several of them that are no longer with us. And personally, this project started not long after I lost my mom. And so it amplifies the importance of sharing time together and sharing stories because of the fleeting nature of our lives. And so it was an honor for me to meet some of those people and to hear their stories, and some of these, you know, engraved names here mean a lot more to me than they did at the beginning, and I'm sure they are very meaningful to the community as well. So I hope the stories keep going.